Alrighty, so this is going to be a bit of a time crunch because we're about 25 minutes before the scheduled game between Canada and the US play in the CONCACAF Nations League final. But I have a feeling most likely that game is not going to kick off on time because as I begin recording the video, the game between Mexico and Panama for the third place of the CONCACAF Nations League uh, game just finished. So it's probably going to take at least 30 or 35 minutes for those players to warm up. And mind you, when the US play against Mexico, that game started like 15 minutes after the scheduled kickoff. So it seems the CONCACAF is learning an art from FS1 and certainly from some of the MLS games that is on national television. That, yeah, just because we scheduled to be taking place around that time doesn't mean we're going to kick off at that time. We're going to make you wait, basically watch these pregame shows and so forth and so forth. But either way, let us actually talk about the first game of the six that happened this week, and we start off with NYCFC and Columbus will be very frustrated with this one because they had this game won. Like this, they looked like they were on their way of getting all 3 points on the road at Yankee Stadium, which seems like this year it's become a little bit of easier compared to previous season because NYCFC has really struggled this season. And then old habits came back from Columbus. You know how they concede late goals and drop points last season regularly under Caleb Porter. Yeah, it seems like the old habit still comes in this season under Wilfred Nancy. But early on, a time with blasted high from close range as I thought Columbus was on the front foot and when they were looking for the opener. Cucho hits one right to Barraza. The shots were 3-0 for Columbus. So Columbus were by far the better team for the first 18 minutes, though NYCFC decided to do their usual thing, which is start controlling possession. But as it's been the case this season, they cannot do anything with it. I mean, this is kind of the difference between this season and previous season, where previous season we see an NYCFC team that control possession, but they have difference maker on the attacking end to break down opposition teams. This team doesn't have that. So just because they had all the possession, they just couldn't do anything with it whatsoever. Magno then hits one right to Schulte as the offside flag went up. And then Cucho was in on goal here, and he would love to have this one back because you don't usually see Cucho miss these kind of opportunity very often, but he missed wide from close range. Pereira then hits it wide from close, and then Magno tried to poke it in, but missed wide in the 36th minute. Chance to come in for both of these teams as they were pushing for the opening goal, but we do head to halftime with this one scoreless between NYCFC and Columbus. But it wouldn't stay scoreless for long because after Magno hits one straight to Schulte as Columbus almost got caught out coming out of the half, as NYCFC was looking for that quick strike to get the lead. It would be Columbus, the ones that get the quick strike for the lead, and it's Christian Ramirez. Always loves Superman scoring goals here, and again, just makes me miss him even more now that he's not playing for Minnesota anymore. But he scored here from Matan and Cucho to make it 1-0 in favor of NYCFC. Columbus took advantage of NYCFC just completely switched off on the defensive end. And they really switched off because I think they were still complaining of a foul that they weren't ready when Columbus were taking quickly on the free kick. And yeah, as a result, they were punished by that, and the crew leads it 1-0 in this one. Morales then heads it straight to Schulte before Cucho blasted wide from long range. Farsi then blasted high from long range as Columbus were looking for more. Like they were looking for that second goal. NYCFC continued to struggle on the attacking end. And also 63 minutes in, we have now officially hit 270 minutes since the last goal that NYCFC scored. So yeah, the goal drought is happening again for this team. It happened earlier this season. It's happening again for this team. Though Seagull did try to end that as he was trying to head it in the back post, but he missed that. But then in the fourth minute stoppage time, he would break the goal drought as he scored in the fourth minute of stoppage time, ending what was at that point 301 minutes, I think they said. Either way, it was like 300 plus minutes since the last goal that NYCFC have scored. And yeah, that ties the game up at one apiece, and that would be the final score of this game. As the shots in this one, 13 shots compared to 9 that Columbus had, 5 shots on goal compared to 2 that the crew has, 4 shots off target with the 6 that NYCFC had, 3 shots that was blocked with the 2 that NYCFC had, and possession-wise, 53% possession compared to the 47% possession that Columbus has in this game. And again, like when I said for Columbus, it's very frustrating. Like they had this game won, and really as the time winds out, it didn't look like they were going to give up a goal. NYCFC wasn't really offering too much resistance. And then, of course, they gave up that goal. And then, again, just old habits kind of came back from then. But for NYCFC, I mean, on the bright side, at least they didn't lose this one and they finally end the goal drought. But the winless run continues. I mean, it's, what, I think now 7 or 8 games since they have last got a win. And the good news is they are starting to not lose game as it was kind of the case a couple of games ago, but they're also not winning games. And I'm pretty sure they are desperate for that summer transfer window to open because again, this team they need some big signing, especially on the attacking and especially in the number 9 position. Like that's the area that I think they're going to do heavily invest. And before you say, well, they have one with Tati Castellanos coming back to this team, I don't think he's gonna be a back of this team. I've heard that they've already decided to sell him off to somewhere else and use that money potentially to reinvest on a new number 9 on this team. And again, they desperately need it because this attack has been abysmal this season. But that being said, moving on in the next match is RSL and DC. So this actually turns out to be a very entertaining game, and early on it looked like DC was going to win this one relatively easily. Though Gomez did hit one right to Miller before McMath actually came off his lines here, and he got away with this one because he didn't get to it there. He was caught in no man's land. There was a scramble in the box. DC couldn't capitalize, but they were on the front foot looking for the opening goal. Birnbaum would heads it high in the back post as the shots were 4-2 in favor of DC, but this is when the game kind of took a turn as Birnbaum would get a denial of goal score opportunity foul committed. So that means he is giving the marching order. And yeah, the ref you suck chant was rang out in an explicit way. And I get it. Yes, I know fans are probably not happy about that. But yeah, that was pretty clear that it was a denial of goal score opportunity on Steven Birnbaum. So yeah, DC were down to 10 men. RSL took advantage of it because after Muswowski puts one right to Miller, and I thought momentum was with them as they were pressing for the opening goal. They do get it in the 41st minute, though this is definitely not the way they imagined to get the opening goal, as Pablo Ruiz kind of channeled his Lucas Irion in this moment, scoring here from Brody as he basically chipped Miller from the halfway line. Now, I will say this, while this is going to win the goal of the week, definitely for this week, I don't think this is gonna win the goal of the year. I mean, it will be in contention for goal of the year, but I think between this one and the one that Lucas Arian hit against Chicago, the one that Zarian hit was more impressive. And this is no offense to Pablo Ruiz, but the way that Zarian hits that one so hard, I mean, it didn't even look like it was a chip. It was more just a shot from way out and just completely caught the keeper not only off guard, but kind of gone over his head before he even had a chance to back up. This one was more like a chip from the halfway line, and while that's still impressive to do, it's not easy to do. It's just one that is still not as impressive as, in my opinion, compared to the Zarian goal that it is. But whether it's impressive or not, it is a goal, and RSL takes the lead heading into halftime. And the second half, they add that lead and made it 2-0 in the 52nd minute. It's the Moose, Muswowski, scoring from Gomez and Lawfulson to make it 2-0 in favor of RSL. And before RSL fans had times to celebrate of their team leading 2-0, they were pinned back to a 1-goal lead as Durkin immediately answered in the 53rd minute from Juan to make it 2-1 in favor of RSL, and you're just thinking, well, now it looks like DC maybe have some momentum, right? Well, Luna did hit a shot that was blocked off the line by Williams as RSL almost made it 3-1. I thought things were really open up. Like, you can see both of these teams were desperate to get that next crucial goal. Freilag would puts it high from close range before Muswowski looked for his second, but he hits it right to Miller. And then Krylak would puts it wide in the 76th minute. RSL was really pushing to try to restore that 2-goal lead, but as times wind down, you can see that they started to become a little bit more defensive. And this is where, again, if you're the defensive team, I don't think that's a good thing to do. Just trying to hold on like what RSL did. O'Brien would puts it wide from long range, and then Ruiz tried to chip Miller again because why not? If he already did it once, why not do it for the second time? This time it wasn't anywhere close. But yeah, in the end, RSL hold on to win 2-1 in this one. They bounce back after a relatively frustrating result at home against NYCFC, where they got a 0-0 draw in a game that they should have won. Shots in this one, 18 shots for the 15 that DC had, 8 shots on goal for the 2 that DC had, 6 shots off target for the 5 that RSL had, 7 shots that was blocked for the 5 that RSL has, and possession-wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession that DC has. Notice I didn't mention Bentege's name once in this on this board. Great job there from that RSL backline, really shutting down Benteke in this one. Though again, you gotta say a lot of that has to do with the fact that when DC went down to 10 man, they just never had that same momentum that they had in the first 20 minutes of this game. And again, for DC, that's gonna be frustrating because if they didn't have that man sent off, I think there could have been a chance that they could got the win because RSL was really on the back foot a little bit. But yeah, frustrating loss here. The inconsistent form seems to be back for DC as well. They have won some games in previously. They've also have their fair share of losses. But moving on, in the next game, we got New England and Orlando City. So as I mentioned for Orlando City last time, for the first time this season, they actually have a winning streak. They have a 2-game winning streak. Can they make it number 3? The answer is no, because yeah, New England they are back in their winning ways, and it seems like as they start to get healthier, especially on the attack, yeah, you can see why this team is going to be a team that I wouldn't say they're going to be right up in the top tier of contender in the East because I think we probably know who is the real top tier contender in the Eastern Conference, but they're definitely making some noise trying to break into that tier. Early on, Heel with blasted wide on the free kick, as I thought there was a lot of possession for the refs as they were pressing for the opening goal. Ojeda did have Orlando's first shot, but he puts it high on the free kick. Speaking of free kick, Bo with fires one wide on the free kick before Buck would pose it just wide from long range, and then Wood thought that he gave the refs the open lead. Problem was, the goal was disallowed because of an offside on the development of play, and then Angulo with blasted wide high from close range, and despite there was chances for both teams, we had to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. Now in the 48th minute, Martins would hit one right to Edwards Jr., but then in the 51st minute, New England gets the opening lead. It's Emil Boateng scoring here to make it 1-0 in favor of New England. It was an absolute banger there from Boateng. Though again, questionable defending there for Orlando City, especially not clearing their lines, and Boateng basically made them pay. So yeah, that gives the Revs a 1-0 lead. Notice I didn't write goal of the week because again, I'm pretty sure the goal of the week is going to belong to Pablo Ruiz. His amazing hit against DC, but in the 43rd minute, or not 43rd, the 53rd minute, Ojeda would look for an instant response, but he missed that one wide. Angulo then puts it high from close range. I thought it was a good response for Orlando, and I really think Orlando, coming into this game, I don't think they had Facundo Torres in this one, but I thought both Angulo and Ojeda actually played well in this one, but they didn't get on the score sheet though. Edwards then denied Ojeda from close range before Heel would puts it high on the free kick, but then in the 69th minute, New England make it 2-0. It's Gustavo Bo. He scored here from Buck and Heel. And if that is a goal that Gustavo Bo can score regularly, I think Rev fans are going to be very excited because that looked like the old Gustavo Bo, the old and that we seen from him. Just kind of cut that one in and struck it with velocity. And yeah, that gives the Revs a 2-0 lead. Would try to make it 3-0, but he pulls it wide on a lightning counter attack. And I thought Orlando started getting a taste of their own medicine because I thought in this game, you can clearly see they were doing their usual counter attacking move that Oscar Pereira tends to like to do when this team goes on the road, but they were getting a taste of their own medicine with the way that New England was being very lethal on the break too. Varone then pulls one just wide in the 77th minute, but then in the 80th minute, Orlando make this interesting. It's Duncan McGuire. It feels like it's been a while since Duncan McGuire has gone on the score sheet, but he scored here from Holiday and Angulo to make it 2-1 in favor of New England. And then Forensen with blasted high from long range, and all of a sudden the momentum was back with Orlando, and you can see that there was some nervy energy inside Gillette Stadium because Orlando is capable of coming back on the road, but fortunately for those Revs fans, they can breathe a sigh of relief in the 85th minute, and they can thank Carlos Heel for that because he scored here from Bo and Veroni to put the lights out at Gillette Stadium to make it 3-1 in favor of New England, or should I say, pretty much slam the door shut in that moment. Because I say put the lights out. That means New England, of course, are on the row against their team. Either way, yeah, he pretty much shut the door in any chance of Orlando coming back in this one. And yeah, 3-1 was the final score. Shots in this one, 14 shots for the 16 that Orlando has. Both teams had 4 shots on goal, 11 shots off target for the 8 that New England has. 1 shot that was blocked for the 2 that the Revs had, and the Revs had more of the possession, 59% possession compared to the 41% possession that Orlando City has. So again, New England back to winning ways at home, and for Orlando, I mean, I guess it was good good that the winning streak lasted, and now we'll see whether or not they can respond. I mean, in some way, it's a good kind of thing if you're an Orlando fans that your team lost because the next game probably is going to get a win because that's just kind of how this season it's been. It's been a very inconsistent season for this Orlando City side. But now moving on in the next match, and this is a big surprise. I definitely did not see this one coming between Sporting KC versus LAFC, and it's not often I say I did not see this one coming, and I use it in the words of LAFC because we know LAFC, according to the media, are the best team in the league. But again, this team has gone through some tough time. They're paying the heavy taxes of that CCL run that they unfortunately lost against Tigres on the or not Tigres but Leon in the final hurdle. But coming into this game where they were starting a couple of their kids and were playing a B team, they were able to pull out with a 2-1 win against a red hot Sporting KC side. Now early on, McIntosh would deny Buke from close, but then in the 15-minute penalty was given to Sporting KC as VAR deemed that Maldonado brought down Keenan in the box. I mean, that was no question a penalty. The only question was why in the world did it took so long for them to review, but they eventually did get it right, and that the penalty was given to Sporting KC. Polito steps up and he buries the penalty to give Sporting KC a 1-0 lead, and you're just thinking, well, yeah, it looks like this is business as usual. Looks like Sporting KC is going to get 2 or 3 against this LAFC team that, again, I mean, I can understand why Steve Cherundolo decided to put his kids and play a B team because this team has just like the A team of this squad is just completely worn out. They have to play the kids. They have to at least give some of their starter a rest in this one because of just so many games that they have been playing and still left to play as we head into July. There was another shout for a penalty for Sporting that was not given. 30 minutes in, the shots were still only 3-1 in favor of Sporting KC, despite Sporting KC had most of the possession. Voltaire then puts it high from long range before Polito would hit one right to McCarthy, and we head to halftime with Sporting KC leading 1-0. Again, you didn't have a sense that LAFC was going to come back from this. But then in the second half, in the 49th minute, they ties the game up, and Maldonado, who of course conceded that penalty in the 15th minute, he make amends of it in a big way as he scored his first career MLS goal from Bogusz to ties the game up at 1 apiece. Beautiful delivery there from Mateus Bogusz, but even a better finish there from Maldonado to tie the game up at 1 apiece. And then just 2 minutes later, it looked like LAFC completely flipped the script as Aaron Long would score for the first time for LAFC. But the problem was the flag did not agree with it. The goal was disallowed for offside. It was close, but I think it was just offside there. But there was no doubt that LAFC has come out the gate strong. And Sporting KC, they were kind of a little rattled early in the second half and was having problem in terms of dealing with those ball coming into the box. Though McCarthy did deny Showery from close range, and I thought Sporting started to able to weather the storm, and they were looking to get back to their dominant side, controlling this game and trying to create some chances. McCarthy would then deny Polito from close before Vela would blast it high from long range as LAFC and Steve Cherundolo decided to bring on the cavalry for the last 20 minutes of this game. Voltaire would then hit one right to McCarthy, and as times wind down, Sporting KC continue to dominate possession, trying to find a way to break down this LAFC defense, but again, it just feels like they were just moving the ball way too slow on the attack. But then in the 90th minute, this is when the unexpected happened. As Carlos Vela, a guy that many people have said that it seems like he's washed, well, he basically proved people wrong otherwise because he scored here from Aaron Long to make it 2-1 in favor of LAFC, though that goal looked like, or that lead looked like it was short-lived because in the 6-minute stoppage time, Espinoza would put it into the back of net because, why not? Let's have some MLS after dark kind of moment in games during the international break. But they did go to VAR to see whether or not if Shelton actually fouled Long on the development play. I mean, LAFC was complaining that there should have been a foul before the goal went in, and yes, there was. And I know Sporting KC fans are not going to be happy. I think that's the right call. I mean, you can clear Shelton. You kind of foul long there, kind of kicked him there, obstruct him there, and that I think that is definitely worthy of a foul. So yeah, the goal of course was taking off. Rosario then hits it high from close range as Sporting KC was desperately trying to get a late equalizer again, but they weren't able to do so. As LAFC, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. They've been desperately looking in for points, and again, kind of came in an unexpected way with a 2-1 win against Sporting KC. The shots in this one, 16 shots compared to just 6 that LAFC had. 4 shots on goal for the 7 that Sporting KC had. 6 shots off target for the 1 that LAFC had. 3 shots that was blocked for the 1 that LAFC had. And possession, why 63% possession compared to 37% possession that LAFC has. And again, it's not very often I use the word surprise and LAFC in the same sentence, but this was definitely a surprise. I definitely did not expect LAFC was going to get all 3 points. And I mean, the best case scenario, if you're an LAFC fans coming out of this game, is maybe get a draw and hope the kids will shine. And man, did the kids shine well, and then some. And then of course, Carl Venezuela remind people that yeah, even though he hasn't been playing well this season, he's definitely not finished and still can be a match winner. That's exactly what he's shown this one. But for Sporting KC and for Peter Ramirez, a very frustrating game. Like this game was definitely winnable, and they play well in this one. But it's just the finishing that wasn't there for them. And again, how many times we've seen when you keep the game 1-0 for a bit of a time, it could come back to haunt you. And in this case, they just aren't able to get that second goal to really killed off LAFC in this one. With that being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the last two games to finish off the match week number 9, doing the international break of MLS game happening during international break. So moving on, in the next game is Nashville and St. Louis. So this is easily probably the most anticipated game from this match week, and that I mentioned earlier the fact that it seems like we have 3 teams in the Eastern Conference that is kind of in that top tiers in terms of the real contenders of potentially representing the Eastern Conference in MLS Cup. And Nashville is definitely one of them because apparently a guy by the name of Hani Mukhtar, that guy that won the MVP last season, yeah, he's looking to trying to do something that I actually did research to see whether or not if a player actually won back-to-back MVP awards. That has never happened in MLS history, and he's looking to try to do so. And who should say that it can't happen with the way that he's just been unstoppable in these last couple of games, especially in this one against St. Louis. Now, early on in the first half, I want to mention that there was definitely a lot of red in the crowd at Geoda's Park. A lot of St. Louis fans that was in attendance. Makes sense because it's not a far drive from St. Louis and Nashville, only a 4-hour drive. Though Mukhtar did hit one right to Berkey before in the 5th minute stoppage time. No penalty was given to St. Louis as VAR deemed that Gioacchini was not brought down by Mayer. Now, VAR controversy was definitely a big thing in this one. Though, again, at the end of the game, it didn't really kind of affect this one. But it's worth it to know that there was definitely some controversial call by VAR. Though this one is definitely not well, this one is definitely one of them, but I think it's the right call. And by the way, it won't be the last time that Gioacchini will be in the center of a controversial VAR call in this one. But yeah, in this one, I think he definitely I think the way that he kind of trying to draw the foul there and kind of trying to go down before Mayer had a chance to kind of foul him there. Maybe that's the reason why VAR says that. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be a penalty. And keep in mind, there was no penalty that was given to St. Louis. So they had to add something to overturn that, and there was not enough for it to overturn. And again, rightfully so, because I think Giacchini was already looking for the contact, and referees are not going to give you that if you're going to do that. But that being said, that was a big moment because in the 11th minute, Hani Mukhtar would score. He scored here to make it 1-0 in favor of Nashville. It was a great goal, but just poor defending for St. Louis. Like, you cannot allow Hani Mukhtar that much space in the box. He's going to punish you time and time again. And yeah, he punished St. Louis for that lackadaisical defending. Vasilev did try to respond, but he hits it straight to Willis. Keep in mind, St. Louis were missing a couple of key players, especially on the attack. Well, the key player that they were missing is Edouard Lupin, who I heard he is currently on the IR right now, and that is huge because Edouard Leuven, alongside with João Klaus, are probably the most important keystone attacking piece for the St. Louis side. Bunbury then hits it wide from close range. It was a great moment in the 36th minute as there was a moment of silence from the Nashville SC supporter group, the back line, as they were honoring one of their member who tragically passed away. Always great to see that, of course happen. But In the fourth minute, St. Louis would tie the game up. It's Giacchini that ties the game up at one apiece. But again, this is where we get to some controversy because originally this of course was as offside side on Giacchini, and that's why the flag of course went up. But then they go to VAR to see whether or not if that is the case. Now I think they did get the offside decision incorrectly here because when you look on the replay, when this ball was whipped in, it looked like it actually hit a Nashville player. Originally, it looked like it hit Bartlett there, but it actually hit a Nashville player. And again, that Nashville player, the way that ball hits him, it hit his back, so it wasn't really a deliberate ball. And even though when that ball hits that Nashville defender's back, and Giacchini was in an offside position, Giacchini is not offside by that rule. But I think the biggest controversy in this one is whether or not when Giacchini kind of went down the ground as that ball was trickling in, that ball hit his hand. And I gotta say, that's one that it's tough. It is really tough to call. And I look at it a couple times. There's times where I feel like it hit his back, and there's a couple of times where I thought he hit his hand. Either way, I wouldn't have overturned that call, but they did, and yeah, that ties the game up at one apiece. And because of that, the Nashville fans are not going to be happy, and they respond that by telling their ref he really sucked very loudly, especially from the back line. I mean, Nashville crowd. I know one thing about them is that they tends to be a little bit more antsy and a little bit more aggressive in terms of refereeing decision that doesn't go their way. So I knew the ref you suck chant was going to be rang down when that goal, of course, was given and the call was overturned. So yeah, that ties the game up at one piece. And again, I thought that was going to be a big talking point coming out of this game. But as we see in the second half, it really didn't matter because in the 52nd minute, Zubak would hit a volley as he was trying to volley that one on the back heel. Actually, I should sort of hit a volley just wide on a back heel. Kind of unorthodox of him trying to hit that one off the back heel, but it almost worked. Although that was really the only chance. Not much happening in the first 15 minutes. Giacchini was trying for a second goal and trying to go a spectacular bicycle kick, but he completely whiffs that one badly. But then in the 70th minute, a penalty was given not to St. Louis. Again, this is why when I wrote this, I wrote this really quickly, so I might have made some mistake there. I'm gonna now rewrite this. It was a penalty to Nashville as Heber brought down Schaffelberg in the box. Yeah, it was definitely a penalty, and this actually came from a 2v2 situation. I mean, Mukhtar was actually in on goal. He could have easily slots this one in, but he decided to kind of do it the unselfish way, trying to play it back to Schaffelberg, almost like he was trying to give Schaffelberg a goal there, but Schaffelberg was brought down in the box, and it was a clear penalty. Also, Hebert was already on the yellow card, so yeah, you knew that that's a second yellow card there, whether if there's a double jeopardy rule in place or not. So yeah, St. Louis were up a man. I mean, I would also say that feels like 4D chess that Hani Mukta basically played there, where not only the fact that he decided to give up a goal, but he decided to play back to Schaffberg and hold that maybe one of the St. Louis defender, that in this case Kyle Heber, would brought him down and get himself a second in yellow, and they would be up a man. Because if that's kind of the thinking, man, that is. I mean, we know Hani Mukhtar is an amazing player, but I think he could be a very genius player and sometimes do some 4D chess move there. But anyway, he steps up to take the penalty. You know he's not going to miss a penalty, and he doesn't. He slots it home to make it 2-0 in, or not 2-0, 2-1 in favor of Nashville, because again, St. Louis did score that goal on the stroke of halftime, albeit in a controversial way. And then 5 minutes later, he completes his hat trick as he scored here from McCarty and Mule to make it 3-1 in favor of Nashville. The MVP chant was definitely ringing out at Geodis Park, and hats were definitely flying down on the pitch too. Now, obviously, Nashville definitely have a great hockey culture. The Predator is definitely a very popular team in Nashville, and there's definitely some of that hockey culture that has brought to this team too. I know besides that, they also chant the goalkeeper you suck chant every time when the they score a goal there, just like what we see in Nashville Predators game. Now they also I think Taylor Twellman mentioned, or actually not Taylor Twellman, but Jake Ziven mentioned the fact that they also throw the catfish the ice after every Predators win, and I wonder if Nashville is going to try to do that. Now, believe me, I think in the end it's a good thing that they didn't do that because that's a very weird kind of tradition in my opinion. I mean, if you're a Predators fan watching this, or if you're a Nashville fan watching this, you might disagree otherwise. But for me, I think that's kind of a weird tradition, and I'm glad Nashville SC decide not to copy that tradition too from the Predators. But anyway, Parker's then ring the post from close range. So St. Louis, they weren't giving up, and that's kind of the thing with Bradley Carnell team. You cannot count out this team. They have times that they have shown some heart in terms of fighting back. Though in the 87th minute, Berkey would rob Mukhtar from of a 4 goal. I mean, that's how good Hani Mukhtar was in this game. Almost had a 4 goal game in this one. But yeah, in the end, Nashville win 3-1 against St. Louis. Shots in this one, 10 shots with the 13 that St. Louis had, 5 shots on goal with the 3 that St. Louis had, 3 shots off target with the 4 that Nashville has, 7 shots that was blocked with the 1 that Nashville has, and possession-wise, 50% for both of these teams. And I know you're probably thinking, well, the easy way to shut down Nashville really is try to shut down Hani Mukhtar. Yeah, good luck in terms of trying to do that because of how hot Hani Mukhtar has been in the last couple of games. And again, no player has ever won back-to-back MVP award, but I think Hani Mukhtar could be that first player. I mean, I know the MVP race is going to be very, very hotly contested down the stretch, but Hani Mukhtar is definitely making his case after this game, and really for the past couple of games too. That being said, moving on into the last game on this board is the Quakes versus the Portland Timbers. So again, every single week there has to be a no-no draw because I think it's kind of been written for the past couple weeks there has to be one, and this of course is the no-no draw. And as it is the case in some of these no-no draw, it's not because of lack of chances, and this kind of was the case. The fact that I think both of these teams could have won this game if they could have found that clinical finishing. Now, early on, the first shot of the game, see Beeson miss wide from close before Jitson puts it wide from long range. The Quakes were on the front foot, but they got to watch out for those turnover. That was a big storyline in this game, and they definitely did not get that memo throughout the game. They were turning the ball over way too much in this game, and they were very fortunate that the fact that they weren't made to pay, especially against this Timbers team that at times they definitely live with and live with the with forcing teams committing turnover and go quickly on the other and on the transition. Rodriguez then heads it wide from close range as the shots were 3-0 for the Quakes. Though Danielle did deny Boley from close range as that was the first shot for the Timbers and a very good one. Espinoza then hits one right to Bingham. I'm surprised Bingham didn't get booed every time when he touches the ball again. The way that Bingham and his tenure ended with the Quakes, it was kind of in a bit of a sour note that I'm pretty sure Quakes fan, including myself, has not forgotten. Though Danielle did deny Boley in the near post, and I thought both teams started getting some good chances. And then in the 38th minute, the post would get in the way of the Quakes' first goal of the game. It won't be the last time the post would deny either of these team a goal in this one. And Immobile absolutely smacked this. I mean, he smacked the post so hard on the free kick that whenever a goal is scored, they have that new thing where they had like the smoke coming out, and that goal celebration smoke was already coming out when that ball hits the post. So it looked like that was destined to go into the back of the net, but yeah, Immobile very unlucky not to score here. Evander then pulls it wide from long range before Espinoza shot took a deflection that goes right to Bingham. It was a rough game for Christian Espinoza, and I think there's started to become a little bit concerned for the Quakes the fact that Espinoza has really cooled off in the last couple of games. I mean, before he was literally the MVP of this team, but he has really cooled off to a point where it's not a big surprise that this Quakes attack has really started to have problem in terms of scoring goals because of the production of Espinoza has really dropped in the last couple of games. Though Asprilla did have a looping header that goes high, and we head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. In the second half, Daniel would rob Evander from point blank. I think besides the couple of shots came off the post, this one equally was probably the best chance of the game. And again, that came off of a terrible turnover from the Quakes. But as it is the case for Danielle, he has just once again bailed out this team. And again, I think if he continued to play like this, it is safe to say that I think the Quakes have finally found a David Bingham replacement, as Danielle has really just been playing lights out for the last couple of games for this Quakes team. At times, single-handedly bailing this back line and keeping the Quakes in the game, or keeping a clean sheet in one. The shots were also 7-5 for the Timbers up to that point. Bravo with blasted high there. In fact, he blasted that one right to Santa Cruz. And I know that might be an exaggeration, but yeah, that was not even coming close of heading toward goal. The final third from the Quakes is become a problem again. Like again, that's been a problem for this team, and again, it's not a big surprise. It's a problem because of the fact that Christian Espinosa has really struggled in terms of providing those production that he has in the beginning of the season. Evander then hits one right to Daniel before Asprilla with blasted wide, and again, that came off of another turnover from the Quakes. Like it's, I thought at some point the Quakes were going to concede a goal, and it's probably going to be because of a bad turnover in their own end. Though in the 64th minute, the post would deny Thompson and the Quakes first goal, or the opening goal again, but this time it actually goes right to Beeson, and he did a good job in terms of trying to redirect that one, and Bingham made a good save in this, and that's, I gotta give credit to David Bingham, because that's a really good save. I mean, it was not a good easy technique for Beeson to redirect it, but he redirect that header very well, and Bingham had to be alert to try to save that one. Though Cal did hits one off the volley and goes wide before there was a nasty collision between Daniel and Marie. Daniel would actually stay into this game. There was definitely some concern because Daniel already had some injury problem early this season, and that with how good he's been playing, this would really suck to see him go back on the IR. But seems like he's staying, and we'll see whether or not if he is going to continue to play, because again, they did go through the concussion protocol, and again, the league are being very serious about this. This is why they introduced the concussion substitution. But Daniel looks like he was fine in terms of staying into this game. And then in the third minute stoppage time, it would be the Timbers' turn to get victimized the post, and it would be Espria, the latest one to find out the post was not kind to either of these teams in this game, as he would be denied by the post in the third minute stoppage time, and Portland of getting all 3 points in this one. But in the end, it ends in a scoreless draw in this one. Shots in this one: 16 shots compared to 12 that the Quakes had, 4 shots on goal compared to 2 that the Quakes had, 8 shots that is off target for the 9 that the Timbers had, 2 shots out of block for the 3 that the Timbers had, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to the 45% possession that the Timbers has in this game. And all in all, like I said, I think a draw is a fair result when you look at how this game, of course, play out. But again, I think both of these teams will be a little bit ticked off that they left points on the table, especially for the Quakes. Again, I know they're still unbeaten at home, but yeah, this was definitely a winnable game. And, if they would have maybe taken advantage of one of those opportunities, then yeah, I think they could have got all 3 points and could have actually got themselves all the way up into second in the Western Conference. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review for all of these games from match week number 19. Again, only 6 games because of the international break, but we have a full slate of MLS action. Well, almost. We actually have 12 games that's going to be happening in the middle of the week. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these 2 games and the other 4 games that I mentioned earlier. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.